Welcome, and the track hearing is Wii Party main menu theme. I played Wii Party as a kid, and I don't remember this. Or maybe it's Wii Play actually, not Wii Party. I think I mixed those two up. Because Wii Play was the one with the that tank game. Rated that. I love this track. It's so interesting. Just very upbeat and funky. It's got the typical Wii sort of sound. Oh god, it is nostalgic, even just listening to this without having heard it before, at least like a few years ago. It's the first time I heard it, as it's just such a banger of a track. So fucking good, and yes, I will make a cover of it one day. When, I'm not sure. Got so many other covers, like Jesus Christ, I need to check how many lines this is. I could copy and paste that actually, it's sort of like a mini topic here. Originals, let's go from there. So let's see how many that is. About 46 covers, fuck it hell. Is that right? Hang on. No, that is 100% right. That seemed like a correct number though, what the hell? Oh, that's why there's a few extra lines for no reason. So the actual number is 44. Yeah, quite a few. There's also like some I'm planning to revisit with enough. I feel like I could improve a lot of these I've done before. That's mainly why I do it. Do this one, but yeah. Why am I removing it from the notepad? I need to fucking remove it from there. But I have to go through covers every now and then to check what I think could work and what I think won't. Because it can make a difference, I think. Really lower the load. Anyway, let's move on to the first topic. Anyone else what? Anyone else noticed? Somebody's tried to mix else noticed together. But has anyone seen the player numbers for recent games this week? Also Horizon 6 beats its predecessor record with 130,000 concurrent players. And in the same sort of week/day, Subnautica 2 has sold millions of copies and reached 460,000 players on Steam. Steam, what the fuck happened there? What the fuck? But also, this exposes a problem in life in general, because I think there is a reason why this happens. Because I think it isn't to do with, obviously, things going on around the world with like the pandemic, or sort of pandemic is technically a virus, but there's no like lockdown restrictions yet. But I'm thinking the only reason we have all these players suddenly here is because employment is at an all-time low, essentially. Because people aren't able to afford things, and naturally the jobs are just going, I think. I could be wrong on this, but the way I see it, it does genuinely feel like the world is turning to shit again, and with this sort of thing, like, yeah, it's not surprising there's more players out there. Like just today alone, than there was back in COVID. The world's just in a far worse place, and it's pretty unsafe. And I guarantee you the people in those places where they're at war or they're in a war want something to literally latch onto, so they go for a pretty much safe AAA game as far as I'm aware anyway. I could be wrong about like Forza Horizon 6. But it could very well be safe to play Subnautica 2, which as far as I know doesn't have any sort of microtransactions or anything. Could be wrong, I haven't looked into it. But yeah, it's surprising to see this many players. I don't even know the last time we saw that many players for a game. But it's so crazy. So I don't know where that exactly is. Like, what is going on? It's always my question with these sort of things. Why is there so many players? Again, it has to be unemployment, because there's no other reason it could be. Summer holidays are not here yet, so not even that. Well, before the summer holidays anyway. Can't really think. I don't know if there's anything else. Yeah, it's very interesting to see though, has to be said. So I'll see a lot of positives about this, but at the same time, it does make me worried for the next sort of big game. I think people are really highly anticipated for something like GTA 6, where we're going to see even bigger numbers, assuming, well, it's not going to be on Steam, it's going to be on sales and the PlayStation 5 or 6, depends on which one we're getting next. Xbox is irrelevant. Nobody cares about Xbox anymore. Although they changed that to a new CEO recently, apparently quite AI heavy CEO, but luckily not implemented it yet. That's a positive and taking everyone back to basically nostalgia for Xbox, which is good, I think. Could go a good direction with that. Yeah, I'm not sure what else. I'm quite interested to see what the reason is. Genuinely. There has to be something going on here. It just can't seem like a coincidence. But anyway, I'll move on. Let's talk about this. I failed to review Slopsmith, not Rocksmith. Basically, I did a desktop install instead of the actual tutorial, and I was wondering why things weren't working and why I couldn't find these damn executable things that they're asking for. And I just, I went to GitHub and I thought, okay, what am I going to need to download here? Because there's multiple things. And there's multiple downloads. So, what's the deal? What do I do here exactly? Which I was confused about. So I got to do this in the thingy. What's his name? I just didn't promote my one. Confused and deep rock. Anyway, I just installed the setup and things weren't working properly from the get-go, and I was just wondering why. Then I looked at the tutorial just in case, because I was wondering how different is it, and of course, idiot me didn't realise that it's likely because it requires the Docker, and it requires these other things, which I think are also a bit stupid, because it's a basic command prompt shit, and it's too complicated for the average person. I don't understand why they do that. So basically, I ignored that, and I see I paid the price for it. But luckily, I'm not the only person having issues with certain elements of it, because I'm pretty sure most people went through the desktop setup and used things as they should be. Just set it up as it is and left it. But I also didn't install anything else to really add on to that, so I was just confused why why Slopsmith has so many issues. But then we've got a new thing here, and I think this is important to know. People are already making alternatives. I've already seen that DJ Smith. It's not my sort of thing, but someone posted something today showing which is almost basically a clone of Slopsmith, and I'm equally as confused by this, because now we're going to have an absolute influx of supposed clones of this, well, decent open source software. But I'm still a bit sort of skeptical about it. And admittedly, this one looks a lot better because it's got the proper interface. It's called String Theory. It seems to show things on it. It shows you the song name. Got an interesting note highway. Different things there. It's got a proper menu as well. Admittedly, it's more well designed than everything else, which is very interesting. I'm kind of curious because yeah, it's also got the same sort of thing with like a UIs. So he stopped at a bug for some reason. I don't know why they did that in the video. It had multiple bugs, yeah. So I'll see if it's not like finished. Yeah. Um, Again, it's just a matter of time before we start seeing more fleshed out plans. I think in the meantime, I'm going to work on original music for a bit and then come back to playing guitar. Because I feel like I need to do that. It's a bit of a struggle at the moment in my mental health and life at the moment, so I'm not really willing to install random things and see what sticks. I'm just going to wait and see what Chainbrain says essentially now. Because I think Chainbrain's pretty good for info like this as well, even though, I don't know, is he controversial? I'm trying to think, like, I don't think he is exactly. Um, it's just that some of the criticisms he made about my CDLCs are a bit weird. I don't understand them. Because I would accept criticisms and obviously enact the fixes, although I can't because my account's lost, so I can never update it. But you know, it's like the Worship Decay one with Silosis. I got a comment saying it was a strange chart. I tested this several times and I was the only person to tab this song, so I don't know what I did. The chart wasn't weird on the part he was saying it was, so I don't know where it was exactly. It's a bit weird. I wonder if someone's actually remade it. I should DK Guitar Pro. I'm curious if someone has remade that because my version is probably awful. Yeah, it has been. I was still the first ever one to do it. Old Tails Yellowfly. I wonder what the official one is like though, how different it is. Let's see. Pick slides. Almost like a dupe of mine, to be honest. It's a bit weird. At least it's got like the drums and stuff. It's much better. I think that's probably why people don't do this. It's like laying out the groundwork for this sort of stuff. That's mainly what I try to do with them anyway. Because even though it's not perfect, I try to allow it so that people can edit it and make it much better and obviously fix mistakes that there are. Mine was quite highly rated, I believe. Yeah, 4.4. It's actually pretty good by Osmo Guitar standards. I think someone probably didn't like it. I wonder if they justify the rating. What's with all the rest? In my opinion, perfect tab from the rest. The rest? Weird stuff, what? Apart from the rest. Oh, idiot. Don't know what that is. I think they meant palm mutes. Okay. Shell player. Have a response. Shell player. My opinion, perfect tab. Oh, same thing. What the fuck is this comment shit? Yeah, the rest are part of the problem with Ultimate Guitar, I think, so that's probably why, and that probably came with a lower rating. Yeah. I wonder what the latest ones do. There's a version 3. I'm just curious. No, it's just my tab again. For some reason, a bit edited, yeah. I think there's a correction to the rhythm though. That's what I can hear from it. Not a sustained rhythm, which I did catch. It's easy to miss those things, to be honest. It's also very heavy, very hard to actually tab these sort of songs. Luckily, Josh has a really good fucking tone, so I can actually tell what the notes are in this. But sometimes you get songs where you can't tell, and I've had those struggles with Dematory, for example. So it's quite weird and interesting. Um, yeah, the official is just a lot better, but again, they hide this behind a fucking paywall, which is a bit stupid. Really inhibits learning and stuff. Yeah, again, I think my tab was initially used as like a sort of support, I guess. Not that it's a bad thing, I don't mind that. Again, it's there for people to learn. I don't know how many other tabs I have that have exactly have been improved. I dread to look at my lowest rated. Corrections? Oh, I did a few. Yeah, I've got a 0 rating on one, but that's pretty old. Like, what the fuck? Oh, that's a tab release date, yeah. And that makes sense. Yeah, I have quite a lot of experience in transcribing. It's something I recommend people do, though, at least try to attempt, because it's not too difficult once you know what to do. But the main thing is you just need to sit down and match a note. That's pretty much it. That's all you're doing with this, and the rest becomes pretty much a cakewalk, and you also have to sync it. Depending on the software you use, I don't recommend Guitar Pro, it's shite. But I recommend something easier like Tux Guitar. It's generally easier for editing and doing no inputs because it's much more simple. You can actually see the fucking highway. The tab holder. You can split it into sections and stuff. Like, it's missing a few things, yes, but it's better. And that's how I've done it easiest. Anyway. Yeah, just felt like sharing that about Slopsmith, so let's move on. You know, as a non-vegan who doesn't consume any animal products or animals, I have massive respect for Billie Eilish in her recent post, and I'll actually look this up quick. Basically, it's impressive that, and brave as well, that she actually came out and basically criticised people for obviously the abhorrent act of consuming animals. And again, it's like incredibly brave to do this because I imagine most people wouldn't even see a lot of day with this sort of thing, and probably wouldn't even be on the platform, as far as I'm aware. But it's so interesting when someone like this obviously comes out with such a controversial take and gets all this attention. That is pretty nuts. Yeah, I can't find the post for some reason, but not that it's a big deal, to be honest. It is a big deal. I'm actually about to explain why. Basically, I think that what Billie's done here is obviously, I think it's gonna be a big move in like the face of history because we currently don't have enough people with this amount of following talking about these issues. And even then, those who do will just get dismissed or ignored. And I think the fact that this topic is so triggering to some people, which even like myself in the past, I'll be kind of defensive and deflective and obviously apply cognitive dissonance. But this can literally be a case study. Because it can show a few things here. It can show how fans react to a controversial take. It can show how various things can unfold, and also the comments. Well, that's one of the big things here, to be honest, because I think the comments are like really sort of something else, and they can show you in a study just how bad the impact is on humanity and how it would look in history. Because this is the thing. I used to be vegan, but I dropped the label because I understand that people are too stupid to understand that you could be a decent person under the label. So instead, I'm being like the rest of everyone else. But I'm still sticking to my morals, I'm still sticking to my values, it's just not the label that I prescribe to. So, I like to think that I'm doing my best with that. And it's kind of like, what are you doing? Why are you criticising not only a vegan, but also actions like mine, where I love animals, and I don't want to see them hurt or murdered. At all. even in the wild animal suffering case, which people will bring up a lot. So, again, this could be a very good sort of case study in this, and I think, as Mike the Vegan is actually currently looking at this, I'm halfway through the video, it's already brought up some interesting points. A lot of it's just so... It's frustrating to see the amount of, obviously, people just deflecting here. But this honestly shows, again, in a case study, if you were to look into this, it shows the behaviour of people who try to be dishonest about things and lie their way through things. And it also shows how they ignore the actual point here. They actually ignore what's being said, and even then it would just get lost in translation. So it's kind of weird in that sense. Like, I don't know how to explain it exactly. Again, I can't find the Instagram post. I can only find like a news organisation reflecting it, sharing it rather. But I see the comments on it a bit stupid as well. So let me explain as well what I mean by the fact people are being dishonest and actually have the points going completely over their head. So let's see, is there actually the post here? I'm going to double check one more time. Hard to know because you can't really judge by ratio anymore. And when was this post? 12 weeks ago. Okay, so it's been recent. 4 days. Yeah. Let's say 1 week. Okay. It's fairly recent though, so I don't know. Okay, I guess it's literally that post I saw earlier. Where is it? I don't know where it's gone now. I think Instagram just gave a fucking random post to me, which is confusing. Let's see, there it is, Bio Wasted. So their viral post, even though this is probably a crappy news organisation, not gonna lie, it looks like it because looking at the post from Wasted here. Yeah, it's very weird. Fuck is this? World's oldest woman smoked, drank wine, ate chocolate daily, lived to 122, outlived her family. What? Are you fucking kidding me? That's ridiculous. What sort of fucking bullshit is this? Come on, we have studies on this already. Because there's obviously a biased organisation based on that. It doesn't seem to be reporting the exact truth there. Anyway, so let's look at the comments here, because this is again another thing, it's like another study. So Billie Eilish in the post says, you can't love animals and eat them. I'm pretty sure that's actually wrong, because she said all animals. So I think it was very specific. I did see the original post before, and people responded to it, and obviously like Danny Shea and a bunch of others, David Rouse, and I forgot the other guy's name, sorry. But they responded to this and the responses to Billie Eilish. And I honestly recommend you check those out. There's like Billie Eilish vegans or something, I can't remember what it's called now. It's like 2 short videos, it might be a third, I don't know. 2 parts out at the moment, but they're very good responses. And people should watch them instead of watching Billie Eilish here. Anyway, the first comment. Me and my dog, we both eat meat and we love animals too. That's hypocrisy. So you love animals but you eat them. So what part of love involves murder? That's my immediate question. Last I checked, it didn't, and the only case where you'd, like rightfully so, murder an animal is when they're absolutely suffering and they can't recover. And again, if they're like suffering really badly or, you know, just going through conditions, it depends. If it's a life-threatening condition like cancer, then there is a good chance that they need to be put to sleep, which is unfortunate, but obviously that's out of love for the animal. It's not because you're getting a product from them. You're not exactly deriving something from a pet. Obviously you get joy and you get get to bond with them and know them, but with me, there's no such thing. You're instead using them to get a product, which is the issue here. It's like in the dairy industry where you forcibly impregnate a cow to get milk, and you steal that milk for yourself and profit. But that's wrong. You're forcibly impregnating that cow, not to mention without consent, like all this is basically. Which again, it can be overridden with the case of them actually suffering. But it's just ridiculous. Like, you can't love animals and fucking murder them and abuse them. There's no such thing. That's why it's literally cognitive dissonance. Again, as it's all been explained to me, cognitive dissonance is when you have conflicting beliefs, and this is exactly that. It's very apparent. So you're claiming you love animals, but you love to eat meat? Well, that's fucking ridiculous. Anyway, someone saying you can't whisper songs, be a cool singer. Actually, I'd agree with that. Because a lot of these singers these days, well, it depends. Like, this is the thing. I think there's a niche scenario here where I can defend that. Also, it depends on the person. So, for example, if Billie Eilish can actually sing, I don't know. I've never listened to her music. Then, she should be. I think that's the point. But whispering in songs, yeah, it's absolute shite. Like, these songs just don't work. They sound really bad. There's a place for whispering in music, for sure. I've heard people do it before and pull it off. But it's not for, like, your average pop song or your average other song. It's like for intros, it's for sections, it's for only those parts. It's very niche. But it's not for the aspect of actually making music. Well, it is, but not in the way it's the whole song. Unless it's like an acoustic or it's like a really gentle track. There's very few reasons to actually whisper, so yeah, I sort of agree with it, but again, I need to know the context for this, as if there is actually like songs where she just whispers. Anyway, another comment. I get them with love. More cognitive dissonance. That's fucking great. Next comment. I could do whatever the fuck I want. Indeed, but that'll make you immoral if you're not using any sort of critical thinking or empathy before you act on that. Like myself, I've realised I can do what the fuck I want. I apply empathy and have morals. Without that, I'm just an immoral person and apathetic. So those things are more important than being able to do whatever the fuck you want. Completely overrides everything. So, it's a dumb comment. Next comment I should say is basically the same as the other one. More cognitive dissonance. Other flowers and plants, then I can't eat those either, so just starve. The fuck are you on about? Like, you're comparing plants and flowers to living beings. Like sentient beings, with free will, with memories, with senses. Like more complex beings than flowers and plants. It's not to say there isn't complexity in them, but there's a big difference. Again, it's a conscious state. It's when they're conscious of the things they're doing. Like if a plant can feel pain, like they have to be conscious of it for it to even be a problem. But as it currently stands, it's not. And even like the earth we tread on, that's unavoidable. So if the earth feels pain, or like the ground or whatever it is, should we stop walking on the ground then? No, that's not even fucking possible. So what are you on about? That's why this is so ridiculous. And yet, the irony is, when you eat animal products and animals, those animals are fed those parts. What the fuck are you on about again? It's so dumb. Actually, nobody thinks about this, and this is why I've never been convinced. I've been looking for reasons to give up the animal rights movement, to stop supporting it, and all the time that it comes up and I debate it, nothing. it never gets fucking responded to because nobody has a response. They've even set the goalposts, prove there's no consciousness in animals, prove there's no sentience in animals, in breathing living animals. And guess what? Nobody can do it. I wonder why that is. So again, it's really dumb. Next comment. Who honestly fucking cares what any celebrity thinks? Yeah, I'll mostly agree with that. I think the only difference here is that the reach is being used to do good. It's kind of like, I don't think this is a good example to bring up, but it is one that I found interesting. So, Robin Williams. Everyone may know him, I unfortunately didn't. That's the weird thing. I've actually somehow avoided pretty much everything he's been in, which is also kind of sad, but apparently the guy was extremely generous. He was like a philanthropist, and he did nice things for everyone. And like literally the other day on Blue Sky, there's a post there showing the story. Apparently he hired homeless people to act in one of the movies it was in. It's just amazing, if true that is. But, you know, again, that's what the thing you realise here, like, you say who cares what a celebrity thinks, but then when it comes to someone who's the opposite of that, like for example, Tom Cruise, what the fuck is he thinking going into Scientology? So again, it's kind of hypocrisy. It's like people care when people are being harmed or a celebrity is being an arsehole, but they don't care when they're actually being kind and empathetic. And in the case of Billie Eilish here, it's a statement that is pretty neutral as it comes. It's thought-provoking, yeah. But what she's saying is hardly anything that could be criminal. That's basically what I'm saying. I think you can only interpret it one of two ways. Either that she's doing good here, she's saying the truth. You can't love animals and eat them, because that again is like harming them. But there are people who take it the other way, who apply cognitive dissonance and put up these fucking projections and barriers. It's just ridiculous. So yeah, that's why we care about what celebrities think, and also the reach they have for the average person. It depends on what they do, but it can be dangerous. It's like if, for example, someone started selling a Bitcoin. Oh, why should we care what they think? Why should we care about celebrities with 200 million followers online who are promoting Bitcoin to a massive audience? Why should we care if they're promoting gambling? It's that sort of thing, so there are reasons to care. Anyway, let's go on. And animals eat other animals, by the way. Yes, they do. Not sure what you're trying to point out there. Like, it's just a nothing burger, there's nothing here. Again, a really dumb comment. This girl literally wears 100% leather jackets. Again, this is really stupid. You don't use your head. So if I see someone who's... Well, actually, I can use this example. So, say I know someone who's vegan who drives a car with leather seats. Oh, you're in a car with leather seats? Well, that's not vegan, is it? Well, you're a fucking hypocrite, aren't you? Except that's not how it works. In its current economy, although, to be fair, Billie is rich, if you want to be resourceful and you want to be caring about the environment, you do it by getting things either second hand, like, again, leather jackets, or you already have the leather jackets before you turn to the side of good here. Like, it's fucking nuts. Even though I wouldn't feel comfortable with the idea of wearing one. Probably smell, to be honest. I've seen them and they do smell. But, you know, it's not my place to comment, because if someone wants to wear it, what's the problem? It's just fucking dumb. So of course people are going to own things that are not vegan. I have medication that's not vegan, for example. Can I avoid it? No. Because the medication is supposedly life-saving and can also ease my massive discomfort. Even then, I've also got one that can prevent, at least mostly prevent cancer. And I don't know if that's vegan, but the reason I have to have that is because it saves life, essentially. It saves my life, supposedly. But yeah, again, it's just a really dumb comment. It's hypocritical, again. And then, what? You can also sort of flip it, I guess, in a way. Like, you're no better, you're wearing things made by plants. Like, okay. And then it just sounds dumb, doesn't it? Anyway, next comment. Even Jesus ate lamb and fish. Person? What do you mean? Jesus ate people? Let's move on. Bro, I can't survive on grass, lol. It's not much of a choice. Red herring. That is a straw man, actually. It's not red herring, it's a straw man. But it's misleading. That actually is, yeah. It is a red herring. I get confused. Literally, the problem is, there is no such thing as a single food that a vegan can eat. It's not just grass, like people say. In fact, a lot of people eat vegan food, and you don't realise it. Noodles, for example, can often be vegan. Even, say, like oat milk can be vegan. A lot of people drink that. So in cases like, trying to think, what's the other thing? Bread that can be vegan. And, you know, if you're going to claim that's in grass, then why aren't you applying it to yourself? It's like a big hypocrisy. It's like you're pretending that you're not eating grass. What the fuck's wrong with you? And again, it's just absolutely false, and that's not what the diet implies. And I've seen people also claim it's expensive and stuff, but apparently that's to the contrary now because meat is more expensive. So it's just an absolutely ridiculous claim and never works. Anyway, I think I want to move on. As I said, there's a lot to study here that I think in terms of a scientific literature you can probably see just the behaviour of humanity from this, from a social perspective, and how it doesn't look good in the face of history. There is something to derive from this. It's just very boring. It's also kind of scary as well because, I'm not going to lie, the amount of people being so dishonest and lying about obviously what they're doing and obviously about this as well, yeah, that's concerning. Essentially, I would equate that to a Trump post because that's what he's doing. He's like using things as like a. I actually forgot to mention it, I'll explain, but you know, he's using these fake news posts and stuff as evidence and claiming that he's right, always right, and never wrong. It also makes it about himself, which again, you can see that in these posts as well, in these comments, people absolutely deflecting. But you also see the really fucking stupid point where people are using other people as a shield. For example, people will use indigenous people as a shield for this. So, oh, you're being racist, you're telling indigenous people that they can't eat animals. So that's wrong. Yeah, of course it's fucking wrong, but we're not talking about indigenous people, you fucking tot. What are you on about? It's so dumb, but you're again using them as a shield, and that's fucking weak. Again, that's just like Trump, it's just like how he's using the Iran war for fucking covering the Epstein files and shit. It's ridiculous. Like, come on, it's so weak. And also the same with the like school shootings, for example, where he even used transgender people to cover that up, to say, oh, it's all the transgender people's fault that school shootings happen. Because 2 of hundreds of school shooters were fucking trans. Like, what? It's absolutely fucking insane. This is literally how bad the world is getting and how dangerous it is. And then people are doing this. They're doing these Trumpisms, which I call them now, and literally just fucking up the planet by means of using a human shield, essentially, or even like an animal shield. Although even use their dogs, for example. I know the dogs can only eat meat. Okay, but you don't need to, do they? Like, there's a lot of questions with that. And again, there's studies in this, and this is the thing. when it comes to science, you can't refute it. There's actually truth in the fucking evidence. They've found consciousness in animals, they've found pain in animals, even fish, even insects. And yet you're sitting here saying, oh well, I can't give up meat, it's too expensive, it's not something I'd enjoy, there's too much grass, there's other shit, like claiming to love animals as well. And yet, all the science just debunks your fucking claim. And we know you're putting up a shield, you're putting on a mask, rather. It's really obvious. Again, this is why I sort of took a step back from debating this until we get to this point where we stop debating animal rights and start debating people's mentality towards this. Where obviously it is just dangerous and stupid to have a mentality to deflect and be dishonest. Like, it's ridiculous. I can't really find the words to describe how bad this is. Because it is just terrible. This shouldn't be accepted either. No doubt there has to be something done about this as well. We need proper education, and it shows also how uneducated people are. How bad their teachings have been from parents or whoever it is. Even just influences. Yet none of them taught critical thinking, none of them taught honesty, none of them taught open-mindedness. Okay, we're just going to go in circles then, I guess. We're going to be in that situation again. Like, oh, global warming, who cares? Ethics problems, who cares? Health problems, who cares, again. But anyone could do that. Anyone could just dismiss it, because it's on the internet, because it's behind a screen. Yet when it comes to a real life confrontation, people do change their mind. And when it comes to that, yeah, essentially it involves debate, and that changes people's mind. That often works. And then again, there are studies there proving all those things I mentioned that are better on, obviously, a vegan diet, a vegan lifestyle for that matter. Anyway, I don't really have anything else to add, but essentially it. Oh, and also I forgot to say this. Well, actually, no, I'm actually confusing it. I was thinking, I thought Billie Eilish's position on this was that it's wrong to exploit animals, but I'm not 100% sure exactly. So, that's also for a later date if it exists, but yeah, but I do know the vegan YouTubers I watch are that position, which is good. It's also kind of relieving as well, because I'm unsure every now and then, because you get crazy fucking people like that who just don't have that position, and then they drop off of it, and yeah, it's like, oh, I only cared because I didn't like the way animals were treated. But they don't understand that exploitation is why that happens. Again, it's just crazy. It's another thing to be studied, which is a shame. Also, it's embarrassing to be a part of a study as well, to talk about the problems in society and stuff, and lack of critical thinking, whatever it is. Anyway, I actually need to move on, so let's go to the next topic. So yes, I saw the Keir Starmer speech before the United Kingdom rally, and I still don't know anything about the United Kingdom rally, or believe it or not. Like, I literally haven't seen any news on it other than the turnout, which apparently is really small, which is hilarious. And they're getting triggered over a fucking one of those boards, like the ones on the vans. It's like a TV board thing. Well, it's kind of hilarious. There's literally someone trying to climb on the back and unhook it. Fucking nonce. But I just felt like talking about this thing that Keir Starmer said, obviously saying that the Tommy Robinson rally essentially is trying to create division and hatred, which, yeah, that's true. And respect for calling that out, because, well, everybody's done that, but the fucking Prime Minister? Like, it's pretty much unheard of. I don't even know if there's anything like that last year, with last year's United Kingdom. So, it's so bizarre. And honestly, I'm impressed. Admittedly, the part about the speech where he talks about keeping peaceful protests is a bit hypocritical, because obviously he arrests Palestinian protesters, or rather people protesting for Palestine, and that isn't peaceful protest. Like, as in, what you're doing is arresting peaceful protesters. That's it, that's objectively wrong. And they're not harming anyone, so it's just ridiculous. So yeah, like, I don't know what's going on with, the kingdom. Already got idiots waving "God bless Donald Trump." Man holds up the plaque on him words "God bless Donald Trump." So take part in the United Kingdom protest. How stupid is I know someone now that's actually kind of supporting that, which is ridiculous. But fuck me. They're also Trump lovers as well, and I sort of guessed this from the get-go. It wasn't obvious at first, but I started to realise. So yeah. But also apparently they said that around 250,000 people attended the, not the Akbar, it's not, doesn't sound right. But basically a lot of people joined for the pro-Palestinian march, which is good. So yeah, it's just so weird. And apparently Tommy Robinson's been to Russia and has told Putin about his issues with the place, which is fucking weird. I don't know if that's true or not, but if it's true, then what the fuck? It's just so fucking insane. Like, what is going on? It genuinely doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it's just disappointing though. So what are we looking at here? So people fighting, is some footage of that, someone getting arrested. God. What even is that? Ryan from Razor Colours has been arrested at United Kingdom. They're good. Because everything I know about Razor Colours is essentially you're waving a flag to say that people don't have the right to live in this country if they're migrants. Forgetting the fact that people are migrating for a reason, and migrants, in terms of sexual crime and other related crimes, are in a minority. Yes, I bet you didn't think about that. Because nobody here thinks anymore in the UK. And as I have to say now, because I saw this post actually about a non, or rather unvaxxed dating thing that apparently was hosted once somewhere, but was apparently cancelled, thank fuck. But someone said, like, like when I was younger I couldn't wait for the future, I was really optimistic, and then suddenly you got all these idiots going backwards, and yeah, that's literally the case. It's just absolutely absurd. Honestly, it's unbelievable. Like, the thing is, in this United Kingdom protest, they're waving the Israeli flag as well. It's just extremely concerning. For some reason it's a Scottish flag. Is that a Swedish flag? The fuck is that Swedish? I don't even know anymore. It's like they look at the cross and they think, oh, yes, that's Britain. But it's not. It's just fucking weird. Yeah. So, it's just very frustrating as well to obviously see this march happen. So, let's see. Is there anything else in this? Try to scroll, seeing anything. UK courts plan unprecedented operation for Conqueror and Nakba Day. Oh, it's Nakba, okay. United Kingdom rallies, okay. Why is BBC interviewing Ryan Bridge? What the fuck? Why do they even do that? That's fucking stupid. Yeah, as I said, it's just absolutely absurd. But the thing is, even though I guess I disagree with these people, I think unless they're making hateful speeches and being absolutely insufferable in that way, like saying the people should be killed, then they obviously deserve to be arrested. It's fucking ridiculous that certain people are not arrested for this, and it's just crazy. And yeah, what the fuck is going on? It just never makes any sense. The other thing you have to consider is they're peddling for the fucking side of basically everything wrong in the world at the moment. Corruption, homophobia, Islamophobia, because yes, believe it or not, it's a real thing, and you might think, oh fuck the Muslims. I did once. And guess what? I ended up being wrong. What do you do when you're wrong? I know what you don't do. You don't continue to fucking believe it. So you make change. It's just ridiculous. Holy fuck, it is so bad. It's actually unbelievable. What the fuck is going on? Also, what the fuck? Why is GB News on fucking Blue Sky? That's so weird. So fucking weird. You've got far right on the fucking Blue Sky, it's just fucking stupid. Are you kidding me? It's so dumb, and it's obviously botted. 3k followers. Posted. Doesn't say it was like 6 hours ago? No, yesterday. 3 comments, 1 hot. Obviously a fucking bot situation. I don't report it. So that is obviously suspicious. Yeah, report for botting followers. Very weird. Unusual behaviour. Especially given the posts of like no interaction. Yeah, they're just posting their own fucking shit. Yep. Anyway, I think I've seen enough, to be honest. Again, I'm pretty tired of this shite. It's the same thing every time, and this is the thing. I also had an encounter with political discussion today, not being a part of it, which I almost wish I was, but I'm worried I'll fuck up the responses, so it's like, it's so obviously corrupt, and no matter how you look at it, a lot of these positions can end up being rather feeling corrupt, and that just ruins everything. It ruins your opinion, and no matter what, people just seem really uneducated, and then the moment they're confronted with something that absolutely disputes their position, refutes it, or whatever you call it, they're like, sometimes they're defensive, but other times they're not. And that just speaks louder than words, really. And when they're defensive, I'm often wondering, how the fuck can you even justify it? Like, come the fuck on. It's just ridiculous. I can't believe people like this exist. It genuinely doesn't make any sense. I just can't understand the logic here. Yeah, political discussion. It's also, am I into politics? And I said, yeah, I got into it last year, and that's not incorrect because I did get into it last year. But I was essentially forced. I was like, realising with all these flags around, I was wondering what the fuck are they about? Thought it was the World Cup, looked it up, what's the World Cup doing now, of all times? I think it was like July? Pretty sure it's supposed to happen a bit earlier or so, but it's unusual for this many people to celebrate it. So I looked up and, what do you know, Unite the Kingdom and reform and just a bunch of immigration hatred, essentially. Just people hating immigrants. And I thought, okay, well, I used to take the position that actually they're kind of right to deal with immigrants in a way. So obviously get them out of here, to not allow them in. And I looked into it and I was also wrong about that. I mean, I knew about this sort of with ICE in the US, sort of understood what was going wrong there and the issues around it, also like the masks, for example. But I think, to be honest, it's probably to do with a lot of predators in the UK and these, well, ironically, like, what were they called? Not rape gangs. I think that might be one of them, but there is another type of gang, but oftentimes these are British people. So it's extremely weird when you realise the similarities here, in that they're going to use the ICE situation potentially coming here as a means to get their way. as in to rape women and children. Doesn't matter what nationality they are. They just come along in a mask, put them in a van, say they're part of the immigration authority, and that's it. You never see that person again. Is that the sort of world you want? A lot of people would say no, but to them, it is. And it also leads into another discussion which I was thinking about recently, but I'll split the topic here. So, yeah, let's move on to that. So, another thing I forgot to mention with that previous topic is my political leaning is truth. Yeah, I don't care what side I'm on. If it's turned out, like, for example, the right is actually the most correct position in terms of, obviously, truth finding, you know, if you can discover somehow homophobia being justifiable, like, okay, sure, that's one thing, but you need to do more than that. But, you know, that's where I'll lean with it, essentially. It's not a specific position, even though I would have a bias towards it, given, you know, I'm an LGBTQ plus person and autistic. So it is somewhat important to understand these things, and also the truth leads me to supporting those aspects, because I wonder what the truth is behind them, and the truth actually turns out to be autism is a spectrum with multiple types of things and issues. It could be processing, it could be anything, and LGBTQ plus is something that's inherent to your being, with probably the exception of like non-binary, which you can sort of do via obviously like choice. I think all of it you can do by choice, technically speaking, as well. But it's often a complex system involving gender and obviously sexual and romantic interest. And that's why it can often be discussed as well in even groups of minors. Like, it's not about like the sexual side, it's about romantic and gender identity, which yes, young people experience, and people will accuse this for some reason of being paedophilia, which it is not, because paedophilia is the attraction to people of a young age as an adult, but for some reason they don't realise that, and so it's still not proven, with the fact, again, that LGBTQ plus is inherently paedophilia, despite the fact there are more straight paedophiles than there are gay ones than anyone else. So again, it just doesn't make sense. But anyway, that wasn't actually the topic, but actually it does tie into it. So what I find extremely creepy, and this was keeping me up last night, because I was just like, what the fuck? Because I wonder, with every war crime that Israel have been doing for the last, what is it, a year now, however long it's been, against Palestine, against obviously now Iran and Lebanon, it made me wonder, what the fuck is so compelling about a war crime that makes it so, like, I don't know, pleasurable, is that the word? I don't know, or satisfying even. Because I do wonder what the fucking dark side of this is, which we need to explore. As crazy as it sounds, it even requires exploring the side where it's more disgusting in that, in the sense that women and children are raped, but you have to wonder why. Like, why are they doing this? Because it is disgusting, but surely there must be some drive leading them to that, and it makes me wonder as well, like, what the fuck is going on in their heads? Because what makes you feel like you can do this? And I can almost guarantee you a lot of the IDF soldiers are probably even married, which is also creepy as fuck. But why is this even a thing? What is so desirable about these things that they feel they can justify what they're doing? These obvious war crimes and immoral acts. Like, how is it justified? And that's what I'm trying to figure out here. And oftentimes it requires this moral quandary of asking the question, does the pleasure outweigh the consequence? Again, as disgusting as it sounds, it's something that probably needs to be discussed as well. Because I suppose it's almost like a primal sense to have the desire to, unfortunately, rape someone. Weirdly enough, I don't know how I haven't actually talked about this. Yeah, I actually intended to talk about it at one point, but I completely forgot. One of the unfortunate things about being born male is you just do get the desire to sometimes enact these things like sexual assaults or sexual incidents, like anything. It really happens, unfortunately. It's like an urge that can occur, and avoiding it is like a different thing, and prevention and stuff. But I think education is obviously the way to prevent that, and that's what people should be using. Obviously in the case of the IDF, they don't seem to. And there's that case where they obviously rape women and children who they've abducted from Palestine, or as it probably will be, Lebanon eventually. But it's scary to think about, because like, how desirable is that sort of thing? Again, it's just scary. And, you know, being on with hyper empathy, it just makes me fucking terrified. Even saw that thing recently. It's like really disgusting. It's only a headline. I don't want to read it because I'm already depressed enough as it is. But apparently, teaching dogs to rape their sort of arrested Palestinians and stuff, the ones held hostage essentially. Which I don't understand the fucking logic there. Like, what are you doing? Because obviously this sick pleasure seems to be from a desire to see, well, just crime, seeing immoral acts being done. Why do you think they so openly say death to Arabs, if it wasn't for that? It genuinely doesn't make any sense. Just can't wrap my head around that, and it's always so disgusting to see this shit. I don't know what to add even. It is entirely gross, and again the reality seems to be that. But it could also be like a sick desire, and this is actually a reason I've heard before for viewing like not safe for life stuff. And it happens to be the curiosity aspect, which as well is a danger. I think there's a reason why we don't give in to curiosities, and this is why the IDF is in such a bad state in terms of how it's run. Because there's no punishment for people who commit these acts. In fact, to them, Arabs are just non-people. And that's probably why they get away with it as well, and why they think nothing of it. That's why it's so inherently disgusting. And you know, think about that whole situation, as weird as it is to say. I think if I were in that situation, I'd rather be raped by a dog than a fucking IDF soldier. Like, fuck that. Like, the dog is more innocent than an IDF soldier at this point, which really demonstrates something. But I wouldn't want either, obviously. But again, this situation is so fucking dark and creepy, it just doesn't make sense. Also, like, do you even know what happens to them after? Because that's also a creepy aspect of it too. Are they just keeping them alive just to do this, or are they just like killing them after? That is fucking horrific. I've genuinely not seen brutality like that since the medieval times. Well, it's probably more prominent as well, but honestly, on this scale that it is now, for the media and the way that information essentially travels, it's probably more apparent now than ever. So that was the intent, is to bring back those times where you can go into another country invading and get away with whatever thing you want. If it was again like shooting a child, torturing a child, doing the same to a woman, doing the same to a man. It really doesn't matter to them. And this is why, again, it needs to be put into questioning by the relevant authorities and even the EU. Because there are no repercussions for this. And we should have obviously had laws in place that prevent this. So, for example, it's like if we find out Ukraine are kidnapping Russian women somehow, Russian children, and doing these abhorrent acts. Like, of course we should prosecute them for that, because that is fucking disgusting. It's abhorrent. And yet, I'll say Israel doing it, they get away with it. But Ukraine, will they get away with it? Probably. Because guess what? Nobody in this fucking world actually cares. Nobody on Earth actually cares about this. There's only a few people, like me, like a few other people, but it's not the politicians, it's not the other countries. They're doing nothing about this. And I can see the sort of worry about it being about inducting a war between, obviously, Israel, US, and UK, as it currently stands. But at the same time, why aren't you just going after us then? Why aren't you going after the US? Why aren't you going after the UK? Because we're the ones with these fucking tools that make it so disgusting to see. Like, if you show people the consequences of these actions, it's probably going to have an effect. I guarantee you, you need to show people in these positions to see what they're actually supporting. See how disgusting it is. And you know, even then, if they're so corrupt that they look at it and laugh at it, then we've got a problem as well. And that's obviously a government that's psychopathic. I'd argue one of the basic traits that any sort of governing body needs to have in this day and age is going to be empathy. Because empathy is going to be the way you pave the way forward for your people, for your entire country, and for even setting standards across the world. That's the only way you're going to do it. I heard about this climate conference recently, which is a great pacebreaker, honestly. But apparently it's like hosted somewhere, was it Brazil or somewhere else? I can't remember now. Dr. Starmer was talking about it. Apparently they only invited select countries and didn't invite the US. So they could actually talk climate and agree on things, which is just nuts. Like, that's the situation we're in, and that's kind of what we're heading towards. It's a case where a country becomes so untrustworthy that we have to rely on our own sort of organisations to do these things. And again, that involves like governments or politics, probably. But it's also enlightening to hear, because that's a step in the right direction. Getting rid of like nuisance and problem countries in that situation to address yours is going to be the best solution. Also, it reminds me of like one of the arguments I heard today about, oddly enough, like United Kingdom stuff as well. It's like, why do people want to fucking kill immigrants? I just do not understand that. It just seems to come from a place of sick pleasure, which is honestly extremely off-putting. There's like no empathy there. And it's just distasteful, because depending on the age you are, if you're saying that in your, say, 70s, 60s or 80s, you're likely insulting your grandchildren there. Because what you're doing is absolutely fucking disgusting. And not only that, it'll be your grandchildren who have to pick out the fucking pieces when the country goes into ruin because you decided Farage was your friend, decided Tommy Robinson was your friend. Again, your grandchildren, like your children as well, are going to have to pick up the pieces from their fucking destruction, from their hell. So when we have ice here, we're going to see problems where, guess what, we're going to see crime increased because people are going to stop ice, people are going to get kidnapped by ice, and they're not actually going to be ice because they're masked, and they're going to do the things that the IDF do. They're going to kidnap anyone they can find, child, woman. I guess in a rare case it will be a man, but it depends. And they'll enact whatever acts they want with no fucking mercy. And again, my generation and the generation we've spawned, sorry for the word spawned, that's kind of funny to me anyway, but the generation that we're giving birth to essentially is going to see this and be disgusted and want it gone. it's essentially why you're starting to see the phrase being thrown around that we can't wait to bury the current, obviously, leadership. Like, I saw that speech recently of that guy in was it Congress, and he's talking about the corruption and stuff in the US, about revoking black rights and voters, rather. It's mainly revoking black voters, stopping them from being able to vote. And I think he commented on how he can't, well, him and our generations obviously can't wait to bury them, can't wait to bury these corrupt politicians, and absolutely see the world in like a better place because they're gone. And that's something that I've been seeing more commonly lately. And it's also like people want to see Trump dead as well. This isn't an uncommon sentiment. It's literally shared. And it doesn't surprise me. Again, this is the world you're creating. It's where political violence becomes a massive issue. And people get fed up of it, especially young people. Because guess what? They're smarter, they've got more information than you. And if you don't bother to listen to them and don't take their word for it, you're going to end up falling flat on your fucking face. And actually, I wouldn't be surprised if people don't want to help you up. Because they're just so fed up. And again, it's at least that point, again, they want to bury the elderly at this point, because they're the ones causing these problems as well. But yeah, also like position as well depends. Some elderly is nice, but some are not. That's why we have these problems again. But I think it's those who are not open-minded, more than anything, of any age, that causes these issues. I think the most damning thing we'll see under Farage's government in the UK is just the money situation, the money problems we have. That's going to cause some massive fucking trouble. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw even like a Trump situation where they just charge into Downing Street or even Parliament and hijack a bunch of shit. It wouldn't surprise me. It's probably something that Tommy Robson would do, but I don't know. Also, I just wouldn't be surprised to see a government overthrown. Like, Keir Starmer is bad, but not nearly as fucking bad as Farage. Like, Jesus Christ. Farage is going to be one of the worst things for our country. And that's the other thing I've got today as well. Being a long-time Labour supporter and being betrayed. Like, what the fuck? That's irrelevant by this point. Because we know Labour's betrayed everyone. But the solution is going to be to vote for your grandkids. That's obviously going to be the one. And it's going to be to vote for the younger generation, for what they're saying and what they're doing. So that's the only way you're going to see change. It's the only way you're going to see your life improve, even the healthcare. And that's the other thing, I guess, with immigration. If you're going to remove immigrants, you're going to have to find doctors, because we won't have enough with immigrants gone. No way. That'll just cause problems for us. But yeah, anyway, I'm pretty sure I covered everything here. I think the main thing was the dark topic about the IDF and what they see in this violence and stuff. I don't fucking get it. I'm almost too scared to look at what it is they're doing or what footage there is, because it no doubt is out there. It's easy enough to find on the internet. There's plenty of sites for it as well. But again, it's just scary to think about. They could look at like r/war, for example, and it can be really fucking traumatizing. You see this shit all the time. So yeah, again, it's absolutely fucking. It's just terrible. Trying to see what is it's SFW, so that's probably bad. It's just a drone strike. Yeah. As I said, like, it's just darker and darker. Yeah, by the day. So, what else is there? Okay, that's weird. You're rushing a UN truck? The fuck is this? And that ball is just a fucking ugly thing as well, so what can even get you to enjoy this sort of thing? Like, I don't get it. Just, it's incredibly frustrating. You see this shit too much, and this is a problem. Yeah. Anyway, I think I've seen enough here, and that's enough rather. And I better move on. Well, I don't know why I didn't update people on this, but I mean, like Aeron, still using it, obviously, and yeah, I've still got the same issues as before, but there are a few differences now. I think I'm getting more comfortable with it for the most part. I'm noticing that the pain, or the aches rather, that were going on in my legs were slowly disappearing, which is good. So I no longer feel pain around those areas, which is, yeah. That's only a problem because they can't design a fucking seat, which I just find baffling for a chair of this price. It doesn't make sense. It's way too overpriced for the little shit it's offering. But I found another issue which I didn't really expect, but I cannot cross my legs on this. Because I don't know if it's seat's height or what. It's like I can't get my leg over the other, and it feels like the seat is like flexing because of my weight. So it's like genuinely difficult to do it. I'm trying it now, but it starts to be uncomfortable because I can't sit back on the seat. There's no room. Like my leg, it's like go to like 5 or 10 centimeters, separating it from the edge, and even with these things to, of the adjustments to go back a bit with it and lean back, it still doesn't do enough, and it gets really frustrating because it just gets uncomfortable. Like, I can't put it back for some reason. Do it forward. For some reason you can't do it back. Do it back for some bits of it. Yeah, even like settings in the middle is just not good. And the only setting that kind of works for me is the first one, I believe it is. Yeah, first setting. The second setting is quite uncomfortable because, yeah, it's just like leaning back rather than having the seat be forward a bit, which again should be a basic thing on this seat. Would have expected better for that. So that's another thing that just doesn't make sense and really doesn't justify the cost, in all honesty. But then there's this final thing, and I think it could be a deal breaker depending on how it goes, but the mesh is flexing. I don't know why, but the mesh is flexing. Whenever I sit on it, I can feel it weighing down quite heavily, and not on the back, but it's just the bottom of the seat. But it feels really worrying because it feels like it's going to break. So it doesn't feel that reliable. And it genuinely makes me question it as well, because why isn't it designed better? They could have done like a double sort of system with that, where there's like a hard layer of mesh almost directly beneath it and then a soft layer on top for the cushioning. But no, they didn't do that for some reason, and it just feels really under-designed and under-engineered. It's so weird. Again, it's a really overrated chair. Like, genuinely, it just doesn't make sense to me no matter what. But I still can't really find a good position with it. No matter how I sit, it just seems to bring a certain level of discomfort wherever I go. So again, it's like a dislike from me. But so far, no noise, no with the height going down, nothing like that. Although I swear I feel it hitting the ground because I noticed the middle bit, cylinder, the sort of chassis of the seat, I guess, or the wheels. It seems to almost touch the ground, and I don't know what that's about. That does concern me a bit. And also because of how the seat is designed as well, I can't sit safely. I have to hold the fucking arms to sit comfortably because I'm worried that I might just rip through the chair. And again, that becomes an issue because of its stupidness. Again, it's genuinely baffling that this costs so much money and yet does so little for the comfort of someone who's oversized. And yeah, I still have the issue with spreading my legs as well. I can't necessarily do that in this chair. So that's another bad thing for it. At this point, it's almost like I should just 3D print my own fucking chair. Because I guarantee there's probably better ones than this somewhere. With all the features that I need. Again, it just seems like a disappointment. I think the biggest problem for me at the moment is probably the seat. Again, the size, the shape, the size, it just doesn't work. The way it just curves in rather than curves over like a normal chair would. Like, genuinely fucking baffling. Well, they could have at least had like a sort of butt slot. So they could have had it wavy in terms of the design, but I don't know. But it also just doesn't seem like it's designed for office people. I think that's kind of a gimmick with this company. And what I've seen, it's like the gaming chair stuff, but it seems to be like office and very sort of a posture corrective, which I don't necessarily believe in, to be honest. Even all these years, I've never really had issues with my back on other chairs, on the cheaper chairs. So I often feel like posture is kind of a sort of mute topic. It's not something people actually care about because it doesn't actually affect them. It only affects people who purposefully sit uncomfortably. So people who lean forward, people who sit in strange ways, like, it depends. But yeah, generally I can't understand this shit sometimes. But yeah, that's another thing that I encountered. Because of these stupid fucking arms, I got my nail trapped to my left sort of pinky finger. But I managed to get trapped between my drawers and the arm of the chair. Because the arm doesn't fucking go back. Like, this is what I mean. It's a really big design flaw. The fact they don't just flip up like they should. Like every fucking arm should on these chairs. It's just baffling again. It's truly designed by an idiot. I have to say it for what it is. I just don't really like this chair. Again, it does the job, but I can't really go back on it now. I made the fucking investment, and I'm also going to try and find ways to sort of flex the frame out a bit, because it needs some sort of solution to that. Because the frame is one of the bigger issues, unless there's like an add-on that you can do. Or maybe they've supplied like a mesh add-on for the top, so you actually sit on it properly. Rather than the stupid curved inwards thing where you have to keep your legs closed, which isn't comfortable. And there's reasons why people might need to spread their legs, and by the way, mine, actually, as it might turn out recently, is to keep my cheeks closed. Like, that's the fucking problem here. Because keeping your legs closed for some reason opens your cheeks, I think. It's, keeping them closed with my Crohn's disease issue is pretty crucial. Also, my Crohn's disease causes a lot of problems, and it's not really compatible with this chair either. I suppose that's the other thing. Because it's got that mesh bottom, which is, again, the sort of appeal of it. I end up having smells just come out of there, which are not actually gas or, obviously, like, I don't know what's called, leftover smears, whatever you call them, smudge marks. But it's not from those, it's from my issue here, Crohn's disease. So again, it's like sorely overlooked, and I just don't get it. It feels so shit. I cannot wrap my head around why this is like this. Just absolute nonsense. Anyway, just thought I'd update people on that because it's still problematic in a lot of ways. I don't know about the potential of like selling it. To be honest, it's kind of might be difficult to sell, even if I do it for a lower price. But even then, I need to look for a chair that does just as many things. And even then, I'm just looking for the mesh top bottom. I'm not looking for anything fancy. I'll say it needs a fucking back. It needs probably a big one as well, because I noticed on this I can't necessarily rest my head back when I want to be relaxed. Which is one of the other problems on this. I thought the lack of a headrest would be fine, but actually it does have to be problematic. I can't do it on this because I feel the fucking chair tilting back. I don't know anymore. It's just everything in my life seems to go fucking wrong recently. And this being one of them. Again, people overhype this shit. I literally said, I'm an overweight person. I need a new chair with a mesh bottom. People said, Aeron. I got the Aeron, and it's not suitable for overweight people. So it absolutely fucking lied. Honestly, I think if you see someone peddling the Herman Miller sort of bandwagon, it's probably a fake anyway. Probably corporate sponsors, let's be honest. That's probably the only way they've done it. That's why they demand so much money. I think there's a whole conspiracy here, in all honesty. And even though places seem to praise it highly, even just from an unbiased perspective, I think that's only because they're looking at the chairs that aren't, like, they are appealing, but they're not the ones that people want. So, of course, those chairs are going to be better. It's going to meet different demands as well. So, I don't know. Again, I'm just tired of this. Anyway, I want to move on. So I think this bears repeating at this point, but someone commented something interesting on Blue Sky about the recent Nakba. I would say it's protest. It's not like a march, but there is obviously pro-Palestinian protester, and you know, someone was commenting on this saying that the unfortunate reality is fascism exists because of this. Because of just the fact it's a protest, and yeah, like that is literally what I've known word for word. Because as much as I've tried to justify using peaceful protest as a means of, you know, literally, you know, having it so that you put a message out there, but the fact is, in history, to actually get change and to actually stop fascism, which this is, you do need to commit a little violence, and that has been demonstrated in history, and admittedly it's a bit different in modern times, but we do still have somewhat of a hold on this, and I think that's essentially what's going to happen, where there is probably going to be a possible like civil war, or is it martial law? I actually heard that recently. I completely forgot about the word. What is martial law? Martial law is the replacement of civilian government by military rule and suspension of civilian legal process, military powers. Martial law can continue for a specified amount of time, or definitely, and standard civil liberties may be suspended as long as martial law continues. Okay, so it's just like a free pass on things rather than that, but I think civil war is probably what I'm thinking of is probably going to happen. And again, that's kind of a scary aspect because obviously we wouldn't want that, but the reality again is, in order to stomp out fascism, it does require violence. As we said, we're going to start seeing days where people end up fighting back against fascists like the United Kingdom and Tommy Robinson, where there will in fact be people being beaten up, police being trodden over, because that's what's going to happen. Ironically, some of the weakest people appear in those fascist marches, and that's obviously where they're going to get their arse handed to them. But also I think also that they're probably more afraid than we are, which is another thing I noticed among fascists, really. People who talk the talk but don't walk the pavement. No, I mean walk the walk, but you know what I mean. But it's literally the case of that. Because I think if you talk something, you say that, it's going to be obviously interpreted that way, but it's like if I say, for example, I know Taekwondo or martial arts, but you go to confront me and I actually don't know that. It's like, oh, okay. Well, obviously that's a weakness. So again, people who say that these things, say that they're like protecting women and children, ironically are the ones hitting women and probably punching children as well, to be honest, but probably raping them as well. So you have to understand that what they think is their strength and the thing that gets them going. Again, it's a dark topic. I've discussed that in the topic previous to the previous one. But again, that's where you essentially hit them where it hurts. They're actually weak, so they prey on the vulnerable to do this. It's like either a sick curiosity or a sick pleasure. And even though we need to address those as accurately as possible, I think sometimes the only way you can deal with them is through violence. Be them to fuck up, or, well, there are other things I could suggest, but obviously I think equal punishment is probably better. But people need to come out without realising the mistakes of their ways and realising the harm they do, so that the solution in the end is simple. And obviously the simple solution is we can get fascists out of the country. We send them on the boats instead. Whatever dinghy or whatever seems to have arrived at the coast, which they claim to have arrived like 800 times a day or something. Now they make up random numbers. But whatever they're on, we'll bring the migrants in and we'll send the fascists out. They're essentially prisoner. And they have to go out, otherwise we'll prod them back on, we'll force them back on, tie them to the fucking dinghy. That's their problem. And the thing is, because people will say, like, oh, what the fuck do you think you're saying? What are you doing? Like, why are you saying this? This doesn't make us look good. I used to say that. That's the thing. I used to be on that side, I used to be in that sort of branding, and what I started to realise is that, especially amidst something like the Charlie Kirk assassination, you're not going to get anywhere through what? If anything, the Charlie Kirk assassination, more than likely, even though it's probably a plant by Trump, let's be honest, well, it's theorised anyway, but even then, it proved that with great power is just the ability to make great change, really. And I think, as we've seen with the lack of Charlie Kirk being out there, it's probably meant that we've encountered much less fascism and much less rhetoric where it's like inherently evil. This is the thing, this is what I mean when we say we're fighting with violence but we're fighting for peace. And I've always said that as someone who has often conceptualised the idea of being a political leader. I realise in that you have to fight evil with good, and ironically good can be a form of violence. I do ever wonder why some of the best movies and TV shows have a villain who's like a tyrant or a war criminal, or just someone inherently evil, someone who experiments on living beings, someone who attacks vulnerable people. And that's because it always requires a good party to deal with them. It's been in storytelling since forever, really, and the message in it is obviously to serve the side of good, so that evil gets stomped out. And I think no matter how you deal with the evil, there's still hope there, at least. But yeah, I think that's the sad reality of this. All the literally, it's a true comment, and literally, there were some responses. What's happening to my fucking thingy? But there were some responses to it, basically saying that this guy who was making the comment originally said they were bullied as a kid. I think it's he, so sorry if that's a mispronoun, but he said he was bullied as a kid, told to ignore them, bullying got worse, and then he kicked the bully in the nuts and broke their nose. And things changed after that. And honestly, I've had a similar experience. I've been bullied a lot and then sort of responded. I think I might have sent someone to hospital, I can't remember. For some reason, I swear I remember I was like waiting outside and I saw an ambulance come up. And I think it was taken away a kid. I should remember the exact spot that happened actually. It's just so weird. But I swear it was something I did. Because like I punched a guy before, left him there. We were like 10 years old at this point. So that's worth mentioning. But yeah, but that's basically what it is. Again, peace just doesn't seem to get us anywhere in this world, which is again really bad, especially in the face of increasing tensions between the public and everyone else. It is really depressing. And we just need to look at this as an option. Whether you like it or not, that is the thing that's happening here. That is the reality, and it's sad, but that's what's going to happen. Because it's either going to be peace or violence, and well, I don't know what category I'd rather be in, given the state of everything in the UK, for example. I'd rather be on the side of violence at this point, not actually their side as in fascist, but the side that deals with fascism. So it's really important. But that's an unfortunate reality, so yeah, it might take getting beaten up, but it will take like learning self-defense, learning how to actually deal with people, like disarm them, just whatever it takes to overcome fascism. It will be worth it in the end. I think that's what needs to happen, unfortunately. So yeah, don't really know what to add. Yeah, it's just very weird, very strange situation. Again, it's unnecessary. It's just absolutely insane. Yeah. So I don't really have anything else to add, to be honest. Again, that's a scary thing. Anyway, let's move on. You hear that? That's the sound of despair. Bleakness, I guess. What does bleakness mean? What does bleak mean? Gloomy or somber, that doesn't help. I don't know what that means, but no, God, depressing. Yeah. So the second one, probably a lot better. So it's definition. But that is currently my life at the moment. As it currently stands, because I just consistently encounter issues on a day-by-day basis, even just the same day. There can be multiple things. Everything just feels so bleak. I've had such a crappy sort of day because of a few things. Where do I start? Actually, I started with yesterday. Getting asked if I need support with things which I don't really, but I can't get help. Because my stress needs to be under control first. I still have constipation somehow, and I'm starting to feel the effects of it now, with like stomach aches and my mood being a lot different. Obviously the way it interacts with my brain and stuff, the colon, whatever. Even then I just have these moments where I try to go and nothing comes out. just poof, nothing. And that weighs a lot on my mind, so again I can't get the help I need. Because at any moment it's just going to stop, but I don't know when it's going to stop. But I suppose I just need to deal with other shit somehow, so today, with things today, I sort of went into it in a previous topic, but I was a bit nervous about going out. I had an interesting sort of encounter with a political discussion, and actually someone who didn't know I was actually into politics now knows. It's just kind of like a thing that we tended to ignore with oh, that's true. Well, bear me. I have a false alarm, but this is what I'm talking about. When I feel something warm through my anus, I think it's going to be obviously my stool. But in the case of constipation, it's not. And then, like, what am I supposed to do? Because I keep mistaking it for gas, and then that happens, and then sometimes I mistake that for being gas, and then I just leave it in. So it just becomes pointless in the end, and this is why I just don't trust my own digestive system. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. I just can't take it anymore. It's just literal hell. I've always hated constipation, but when it's really bad like this, especially when you can't get anything out, it feels awful. And I've asked for instant relief, but they don't listen. They literally do not fucking listen to a word I say when I say I need instant relief. And that means, translation, instant and relief. Like, what the fuck? I've asked for it and I'm still not giving it. I don't care how damaging it is to my fucking system, this is urgent. And they just don't listen. I might try going through NHS service, which I'm not hopeful about. But I'm just so fucking annoyed. I can't take it under this, the amount of stress I've got, and there's just too many issues going on in the world and in this house alone. And also, is there even any fucking point? Because this is the other thing I've been thinking about. I'm so worthless as a human being. I just don't feel like I deserve this place or anything. I feel like I don't deserve a lot of the things I have. I'm so worthless that people don't even know who I am. They don't listen to anything I say. They don't even look at my hobbies. In fact, whenever I posted artwork or music, it gets pretty much no attention, and on top of that, it gets often criticised by means of people saying it should be more like one thing rather than the other. Basically saying that it's not good, like the mixing of my music is shit, my artwork isn't good enough, it isn't detailed, or the drawings are bad. I just don't know what to fucking do. And like, I thought about just punching myself in the stomach because I don't know what else to fucking do about this. So sick and tired of going through constipation. It seems to happen every year as well. It's a weird thing. I've had it since childhood, and then every so often I'll have it for over a few days or a few weeks for seemingly no reason, and it's very unexplained. I don't know what's causing it. The fact that colonoscopy can't even identify it is proof that something's off, I guess. I don't know anymore. It's just really hard to cope with. I feel pretty lost with this. I feel there's no like natural food I don't think I can eat that will just magically flush things away. Even then, I've got this thing called Fibogel, but it barely does anything. And the fact that it's not doing anything is, again, more proof something's wrong. I just don't know what the fuck is happening. And I've even checked before, like, they ask usually when they talk about these symptoms, like, if you've got Is your stomach and chest cold to the touch? Not the touch, I mean. Chest warm, stomach no, but it's never warm. The side is warm, and underneath it as well. It's always warm. Back, it was warm. And there's a bit of cold, but it's hard to identify. That's why this is so boring, and this is a thing, because I tend to try and care about my own life. I try to pretend anyway. I do care, even though I don't really. And, you know, I get punished for it. I get told I'm being selfish. I get told that I don't deserve all this. And yeah, I don't really know what people want anymore. Not sure what it is they want from me. It's just so frustrating and so dark. When I'm in this state, I just feel like the best way is again suicide. I can also get that thought again. It's tempting to just end my life. Given the state of the world as well, it's like, why would I want to be here? And what sort of fucking world is this? If fascism is allowed to run over everyone. And yet, even though I'm unable to fight, I'm probably more able to contribute in some way anyway. People would just let fascism win somehow. They won't intervene, they won't start attacking people who threaten our lives and threaten our rights. So what chance do we have anyway? Just do not understand it. It's like even society gives up on people like me, and I've been told before that I'm too demanding. I'm asking too much and expecting some sort of magic solution. I remember actually, because I was making some sort of post to mental health subreddit site, and people literally snapped back with, "Well, you've got all this and you're complaining." Yeah, what do you expect? I've got a lot of things I've bought over time, but it doesn't mean I'm rich or even loaded or even got the things I want that I don't need. That's the difference between my situation and others, I suppose. Even then, I just want the bare minimum. And the fact I can't afford that should be proof in itself, and that's the other thing I guess that got me. It's just a very weird scenario that happened where there's someone I know apparently looking to get a house, and I'm just thinking at the same time of this, boy, I can't even get a fucking proper house, let alone the equipment needed to deal with the problems here, and yeah, everyone else just seems to be living up, so okay. Fuck me, I guess. I'm the one who's too greedy. And people are just over there buying houses. I don't know, more than one person who buys houses. It just feels really shit. Again, I'm just really lost. I don't have many words for this. It just feels like every day I wake up, it's non-stop suffering, and I know I'm gonna go to bed like this somehow. Then probably even gonna have to attempt having one of the most depressing wanks ever. I've got this thing in front of me. It's just, I don't know. Is it gonna work? I don't know. It's something that sort of helped in the past, but will it though? There's also my question, will this fucking help? I don't know anymore. So yeah. It's also just difficult as well when it sort of has to be like this in front of people as well. Just, it's hard to get over these sort of things. I'm sure if people found out you're a fascist and you weren't happy with them, Facebook short watcher by the way, then I think it would be pretty unsafe as well. Pretty despairing. to mention not even seeing the qualities in said person. Generally, it feels like with fascists there's just a lot of apathy, and that's really the most disappointing part about politics so far. It seems to be the apathy that's always the issue here. Because people just don't express enough of it. Instead it's like, oh, let's kill whoever. Let's kill these types of people, let's kill gay people, let's kill disabled people. Fuck it, why doesn't the left just kill fascists? I don't understand that. It genuinely feels like the only option. These bastards are the ones doing the war crimes. And why should we care? Okay, it's a gas again. Again, why should we care? They're war criminals. It's the least they deserve. So, yeah, and again, it's like, they're war criminals by virtue of complicity. If they want to support Israel, if they want to support the US, they want to support Russia, that's on them. You know, you have to face whatever consequence comes with that. Because nobody looks too kindly to bullies. Bullies deserve to fucking die. I've had too much of that in my life. I've had it in person as a kid. I've had it online. And to be honest, I think I've even had it with family and friends. So it's even difficult to sort of address that, but again, it just does feel like bullies just need to fucking die. They need to die out. They need to be gotten rid of once and for all. We're so fucking tired of this shit. Everyone is. Yeah, it's not a case of me carrying about my life as though she's preventing worse things to happen to humanity. And again, it seems like bullies and fascists are the same thing. Too many problems to count. They cause us all these problems. They want us to conform to their way of life, which is basically apathy, and do whatever they stupidly believe. Essentially Trumpism. So let's call it. But well, I probably won't be around to see that. Thank fuck, to be honest. Even then, it's probably best to go out in a blaze of glory anyway. Again, sort of, it's a situation that's so frustrating. So fucking tired of that shit. I don't even know what to think. Also, why the fuck is... What is this image? Unsplash. Teenage girl and a teenage boy in fucking swimsuits. Oh god. Some pedo uploaded that, great. On that bombshell, guess I'm off. Fuck this world. So, what a shit stain on humanity. You probably know what I'm talking about, and there's going to be two topics I've rolled into one here, because I don't think they're related, but they could be, obviously by virtue of previous things. But Trump made a post recently on Truth Social, ironically not truthful. And as much as that platform is an insult to the word truth, his post is just as bad. He's basically rolling the climate denial carpet again, saying that he favours truth and science and won't support climate change. Because that's what the truth and science says, apparently. Except he fired the people who would be able to tell him otherwise. So, but again, it sort of blows back in his face, essentially. It's like exactly like that Banksy statue with the flag in the face, and it's a very thought-provoking statue. I didn't know about it until like a few weeks ago. But yeah, it's honestly impressive. It's very interesting though. But as well, a post like this is just, again, it's frustrating. We shouldn't be seeing shit like this, and because it's his own platform, his own funded platform by the way, you can't really tell him otherwise. It's like, oh, well, I guess you're right then. Go to fossil fuels, which are obviously killing the planet. But yeah, as I said, it's both stupid. The thing is, we've already got evidence, and to use the word truth and science in the same sentence as climate denial is just as much as an insult to you and planet Earth than it is anyone else. So, again, those have severe consequences. Because that's the actual science. And what you're peddling is a truth based on your own idea, which isn't truth, by the way, that's just an ideology. So you can't even claim that. It's very weak-minded, and literally, like, actually this sort of goes without saying as well. I think Trump is one of the biggest fucking snowflakes in the world at the moment. I think a lot of people use the word snowflake again to describe someone who's woke, but the problem is, there are less snowflakes in the woke world than there are in the market world, in the Republican world. Because they're all full of fucking snowflakes. They melt at the sight of anything that challenges them, challenges their ideology or their positions or even their financial situation. So again, who's the fucking snowflake here? It's just ridiculous. So yeah, anyway. The other topic is one that I've sort of taken issue with anyway. It's about war politics, and apparently Russia is accusing Ukraine of, I think it was like bankrolling bloggers to make posts that basically favour Ukraine. And weirdly enough, this was actually not really a thing I said, but it's a thing I sort of alluded to in a way where a lot of the YouTube channels I've seen and even blogs seem to be extremely pro-Ukraine and barely report on what the Russian side is doing, or how successful they are, where they are successful. It's not to say they are, because as far as I've seen it, they're not. But it makes me worried when the reporting becomes, oh, let's focus on Ukraine, rather than, oh, let's focus on Russia as well for a moment. It's very bizarre. And also I do think it serves to damage Ukraine in a way. I could be wrong in that. But I think the way that we just have so much pro-Ukrainian, unfortunately, propaganda, because I think that is what it is at this point, we end up almost deluding ourselves into that. And so we don't even see the light of day when it comes to, ironically, actual truth. So when it comes to how much they're actually losing to Russia, we don't know. Because every single fucking blog, every single video that covers this war is always on the side and perspective of Ukraine, rather than Russia. And even those who've reported on Russia usually just report on the societal effects. So again, it's very concerning that we have this scenario, and admittedly, the accusation is not unfounded, admittedly. Like, weirdly enough, I can't really agree with it, but at the same time, I think there is something thought-provoking about this, and about the reality of journalism towards the war, and even like so-called war experts. Like, why is it all so pro-Ukrainian? Because even though I side with Ukraine, the problem is I can't really get a good picture of the war without knowing what Russia are doing. And it is also Russia's fault if they don't report on this, if they don't share shit. Ironically, that's like the problem with them, that's probably why they're losing. So, yeah, but again, I'd rather have there be like two sides to the story rather than just this one side, where we actually don't know if Ukraine are winning or losing. It really doesn't make sense. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add, to be honest. I think I've pretty much covered everything, to be honest. Yeah, so anyway, let's move on. So, I just finished watching the recent Keir economics video about how to stop the far right. Excuse me if I have breathing issues, I don't know what's happened, I seem to have developed some. But, the video was basically about how to stop, obviously, the far right. And the comments are as delusional as you can expect, with people saying, oh, they're not far right. And it's kind of frustrating to look at, because one of the big things with Reform and the Conservatives, as far as I'm aware, is to do with revenge politics, as in the people voting for them strictly want revenge on the people who caused the country pain and suffering, and for some reason they pin the blame on immigrants without doing the research. And it's literally like, I hear stories about this every fucking day, but it's the same story all the time. It's like, immigrant comes over, gets free stuff, rapes a child. But that isn't what's going on. Because if you look at the actual immigrant population, take out the numbers who also have committed a crime as serious as this, you still get a minority. So the minority of migrants have done very little here to even cause anything bad to happen. And that's why we're in such deep shit. Because people don't understand the fucking science. People are so uneducated. I literally think our education system is behind, and that's saying something given how bad it is with the US system. It's just terrible. And I just don't understand why we're in this situation to begin with. Again, because education should be more accessible than ever, given the internet. And yet people look at Gary's economics video and say, you know what, I don't want to listen to you because you're just living a liberal fantasy or something like that. And that's just what's going to destroy the country. You people are so fucking stupid, you don't take other opinions. It's no wonder this country's going to shit. No wonder we're going to see issues. It's because people like you, who are inherently fascist by virtue of aligning with Reform, Conservatives, and at this stage even Labour to an extent, it's because of people like you that this starts to happen. And we start to see the country fall even further into chaos. It's only a matter of time before we see gangs starting to roll up and even overtake police, and it's not even just like gangs, it's like ICE situation as well. So if we ever get an ICE here, which it seems likely at this point, then they've got the free will to do whatever they want. They see like a British woman on the street who looks attractive, they'll kidnap her. And that's what they do. ICE is a terrorist organisation, not a governmental body. And yet people can't wrap their heads around it and don't even actively destroy these places to rescue people. And then they wonder why the world and why the US is in such a bad state. And that's why you're not helping the cause out. You're standing there waving signs thinking that does something, but in the end it happens with, unfortunately, tools of destruction, essentially, and even murder. But I'm not really here to talk about it, obviously. Again, the issue we're seeing is people want literal revenge against certain political positions, and that just completely shadows the reality that a wealth tax could help us and could even stop so many things from being extremely bad. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But yet people are just ignoring this. They're ignoring the fact that they can get a better world, a better country, one that even, for example, I could be proud of if it were to happen. But at the moment it's not happening. So we're seeing the consequences of that, which is a rise in hatred, hate speech, and we're seeing people literally snap back saying, oh, well, I want all these people to suffer, I want migrants to suffer, I want LGBTQ plus people to suffer, I want people with different colour to suffer, I want people who are disabled to suffer, and I want women to suffer. Oh, and sorry about children probably as well. But that's literally what we're headed towards. It's just absolutely fucking disgusting. I just cannot comprehend the idea. They just want all these types of groups to suffer, and they're voting a party that will make them suffer themselves, which is also completely fucking stupid. They only focus on these things, and that's where you also get the problem. You need to focus on multiple fucking things at once, which is what, ironically, these so-called liberal fantasies are doing. They're focusing on more than one topic. And that's why they end up being correct in a lot of cases. So, once again, it's a failure of people who either don't align with the position or even just align with the right, and they absolutely fail because they focus on one thing only, or in some cases even just malicious things. So using the migration thing as a means to not only get an easier job, because they'll probably have a nice and paid well in that here, but I doubt it would happen, to be honest, to be paid well, but you'll have that, and then they'll also use that as a means to like fucking absolutely absolutely cause destruction. To absolutely ruin the planet. Absolutely ruin the country. Literally, it would just make things worse for everyone. So I'm getting distracted by the video on Blue Sky of this fucking immigration van, the guy trying to unplug it because they think the immigration thing is true. It's so funny. It's like, I don't know. It's like they're being fucking poked. It's just so funny. That will never get old. That's going to be a meme, I think, as well. Because it'll be funny to fucking mock them, but that's the point, really. It becomes extremely worrying with the case of people using this as a scapegoat. They mask themselves, they make these like rape gangs and stuff, they kidnap children and women masked because they don't want to be caught, and they won't even get investigated because the country won't care, and we're heading towards like almost what I would call like Israelism. I don't even know the term for it. Like literally war criminal shit, where they could do whatever they want. Like, oh, you see a Christian person on the street, drop kick them. You see a black person on the street, drop kick them as well. You see a woman or a child, kidnap them. Like, that's literally what's going to happen under a reformed government. It's no exaggeration. It's just a likelihood. So, again, it's really concerning. And given that they've also removed Ukrainian flags from reform-controlled areas now, it gets even more concerning. They are literally Russian assets. So you're wanting a type of communism that already has broken an already terrible country like Russia. It just makes no sense. And this is the thing with revenge politics. Again, it comes back and bites you. Because you think, oh, it's just going to solve all the problems that concern you, but it's actually going to fucking bite you in the arse. You haven't used your head. And ironically, the people in reform, I've seen this quite consistently as well, they actually think they're smart. What the fuck is this? If they were smart, they'll be sourcing their claims here. And what's this? Nigel Farage post. He's quoting someone who said one of the first decisions made by Essex Reform was to remove the Ukrainian flag at the county council. Let that sink in. And he's responded, under Reform there will be no foreign flags flown above our public buildings. Your reaction to this demonstrates why you lost in the first place. What? What the fuck are you on about? We're supplying Ukraine with arms are we? And to fly the flag as well is to show support. Show that people are backing it, but now we're removing it. It's like, you're not going to help them. You're not going to increase morale. And again, it just sounds like you haven't even addressed the point here. It literally does seem like they are, again, flying the Russian flag here, because it's not about foreign policies here. It's literally about supporting geopolitics, which in itself is an important aspect which people seem to ignore. Supposedly Gary even seems to ignore it sometimes. But I think it's important because in this current situation you never know what's going to happen. And it's unfortunate Ukraine is in a war. But the reality is we won't want to fight it, so we have to support them. So removing the flags is just like a big morale, a kick in the balls or something. For Ukraine, even though they may not care that much. But it's just so concerning. And then we've also seen this thing recently with Israel, where they supposedly got bombed overnight or something, or struck. There's like a massive explosion, and they're trying to cover it in the media, apparently. So either they're under attack or they've fucked up somewhere. And yet, this is the sort of country that Farage wants as well. We've got a country where we cover up that sort of media. And ironically, he probably wants to cover up this shit with the flag as well. I wouldn't be surprised if he deletes the tweet after this, because it genuinely seems like he would get that off somehow. He'd try to get the original tweet off, or his own, because to remove that is to obviously censor the truth here. That's the other thing, yeah. The other thing these parties do, and people go for the far right or for whatever party is that's doing these horrible policies and supposed revenge politics, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have truth covered up, and that in itself is extremely just dangerous. There isn't much to say on that. It's just going to cause many problems. So I got distracted by a beautiful trans girl's legs, I think. Yeah. Well, anyways. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add, to be honest. Even then, I'm an unbiased person. I've said if Reform could do things right, even just remotely, correct in terms of, other parties. Like if they could have become part of a tactical vote in a sense, and the Conservatives and Labour be the issue, then they could have won my vote. But they haven't. And that's because everything they do serves no purpose here. It doesn't benefit anyone. And even then, what they're trying to propose and what they're trying to implement absolutely shits in our faces. Literally. So we won't even see anything, we won't see welfare, we won't see benefits, we won't see improved cost of living. In fact, it's going to increase if we ever get the concentration camps. So it's extremely concerning. Like, again, I'm just lost for words with this sort of shit. And a lot of the comments are just dumb, like, what do you mean, far right? So I'm getting diaper, fan art, fuck off, block. Yeah, so again, I just find this really annoying and really frustrating. I think we need to see a world where things are just better for everyone. I don't see anything else changing. Don't see how hatred can guide us, especially with what MAGA had essentially, and even Israel. We're seeing the consequences of that. We're seeing entire nations wiped out because they decide, oh, let's not actually have another country beside us. Instead, they're using the mask of anti-Semitism to cover it up. It just is awful. That's the thing, they do cheap tactics like that as well. Trump will call everything fake news and accuse everyone of something. And that's the mask that he uses to cover up his wrongdoings, whether it's the Epstein files or the wars or provoking people, even just fucking the economy and taking bribes. It's like everything to distract someone. And I wouldn't be surprised if at this point he uses something like ChatGPT to fucking generate the prompts at this point, the tweets, to make every day. To then suddenly get in the headlines. It's literally a case of psychological warfare. They're not only taking over via means of narrative here of hatred and misinformation and pandering to an idiotic bunch, he's also taking advantage of it to cover up those very inherent problems that he has, and other countries for that matter. Also, I guess with, I think it was right, with Israel, to address the anti-Semitism thing, they literally use it as a mask because nobody is calling out religion as the cause of the problems here. They're literally calling out Israel as a country, and especially with the case of like the IDF and what I call actually the IOF, the Israel Defense Force. It's essentially, that's the problem. It's got nothing to do with religion, nothing to do with practice, it's all to do with that. Because they're committing war crimes, they're committing genocide. It's fact. It's setting all the evidence on the internet that's been out there, all the independent journalism, all the journalists whose lives have been taken, which by the way no country seems to have prosecuted them on. It's journalists of all different countries. And yet they'll throw the anti-Semitism card even at a claim like that. But again, it's just a fucking mask. It's just a cheap tactic at this point, and it's essentially the boy who cried wolf. So the more you throw that out there, the further you hurt Jewish people. And you're already seeing the effects of that. It's already happening across the world with actual anti-Semitic attacks. So again, you're not really achieving what you want to with this. It's quite pathetic, really. The UK seems to be heading that direction, which is concerning. Anyway, that's all I've got to say. I've really got to move on, complete my task, and maybe look at another thing. So yeah. So this is something annoying that's happened to me recently. So I'm trying to make my music a bit more high quality, as I've realised that I just need to improve it in a different way. Because I do feel like there is improvements to be made still, despite me almost perfecting it. And I'm just struggling with how exactly to improve it. Because I'm not sure what I can identify that's a problem that's worth improving. And that adds to a complication. But recently, I wanted to start doing slides properly on the shredded instruments. And well, even though I got them working before, they decided to stop working. Not sure if this was because of a patch or what, but it stopped working. And I cannot identify for the life of me what the fuck is causing it. So I'm now having to ask again how to fix this shit, which seems to always be a problem, and it's always because of FL Studio. The software that everyone recommended me use, by the way. Because it had a quote-unquote community, even though it blocks the fucking forums if you're not logged in. Yeah, I don't recommend FL Studio, obviously. I'm surprised I haven't reviewed it, but then again it's probably on a my DeviantArt post. It was probably long ago when I started using it. But yeah, I'm annoyed about this because I feel like it shouldn't be an issue. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, I'm trying to make music here, and I'm punished for the fact that I'm trying to make something higher quality and then it won't allow me to. For example, I'm making an original track which I spent an hour on just today alone, most of it was fixing or trying to fix the slide issue. And even though I could sort of get it working by doing an entirely new contact instrument, I need to reassign all the fucking parameters again, I think, in order to get it to actually work. So it's not too viable. Like, I will open it up in a sec just to try it, to see if replacing it can get it to work. But again, I'm sort of wasting my time here too, because it bites into my day and time I could be spending playing games and shit. But I'm just so frustrated by that aspect, because that's one improvement I could be making. So rather than doing like the pitch bends like I used to do, I want to see if I can actually make a slide so it feels more genuine and feels more like I'm playing it as I would play it. Like one of the riffs I can actually play on the guitar right now. I embarrassed myself, and I didn't actually resolve the riff properly, so it doesn't really work. Trying to think what note it's on now. I think it was something like this. No, it's like... yeah, it's a bit of a weird thing. Actually, no, it's here, wasn't it? No. Yes, it resolved weirdly because it's like the same note. I'm playing two different strings there. So I did resolve it into something else, which is like a higher note. I can't remember what note that was now though. I don't know, but you know, I'm trying something like that, and I am using the guitar a bit. Like this first riff I thought of from that. That's in the... but yeah, it's the right tune. Something like that. It's got like a sort of, I guess almost like a Napoleon vibe. If you've heard Polonian? What? Napoleon. But also it's kind of math rocky sounding. I actually tried it without the amp first, and it worked, but it wasn't loud enough. And I tried an overdrive pedal, it didn't work. Tried an amp, it didn't work. I couldn't get it right in the end, so I just decided to use a clean chorus instead. Although technically I could have used the other one. Damn it, I'm an idiot. Well, they have a dual track clean chorus, but anyway. It sounds better with distortion though, to be fair. I think I've stopped with that here, not mistaken. Yeah. It's also better because it's on lead. Yeah. It's going to be a weird song because it's kind of a, I don't know, it's a juxtaposition. I can't remember what it's called when something isn't the same as what it sounds like, I guess. Basically it's like black and white, but I'm playing it in white rather than black, because there's a black song is in white. That's the only way I'll describe it, and that's probably the only teaser I'll give. But it will be interesting, I think, because I might experiment a bit more with it. Basically not like a style that I was doing. I actually did write down styles I want to try, so I could maybe incorporate that somewhere. What the... oh, there it is, it's at the top there. Yeah. I might try that. Also, my idea for actually kind of is genius, because when I think of trying to mix genres, I actually probably need to try jamming it out with the genre I'm trying to mimic, and that will be a thing in itself. So let's say I use, I don't know, say something simple-ish. I can't even think of a song now. It shows how much pop I listen to. Damn it. I cannot think. Oh no, I was just gonna say like Madonna, Life's Like Bonita. Or maybe Holiday. Oh, why not? It's an upbeat track, and if I jam along to that, I'll come up with a riff eventually. and it'll kind of work and it'll follow the same sort of gimmick. But maybe I'll go with something like an EDM track, maybe. So I might even try to jam along to maybe Let Me Be Your Fantasy. And I think I could come up with a riff that way and also be able to incorporate it. It's just one of my strategies I might try. Because I actually haven't tried this before. That's a weird thing. But I've also got another sort of thing about music which I was sort of surprised I didn't notice this sooner. But I'm planning on making a mascot. Just for my music in general, and he'll appear in the corner of every song now, if I make one. But I'm going to experiment. I think there's obviously some work to do with that. This mascot will be kind of interesting. Because I was obviously having just listened to rather Iron Maiden, and seeing that Eddie was like the big mascot and everything, and he sort of represents like a, I don't know, like an evil, I think. If I'm not mistaken, I could have misinterpreted what Eddie is actually. But I'm thinking, what if I just make my own mascot sort of like Eddie and also like big round head and Megadeth? I can't even think of any other mascots for some reason. There probably are others. It's not like a... Well, actually no, this incorporates a thing that I also realised with something else. Which is how a band's identity is its appearance. Well, an artist in my case. I guess I considered, even though I'm shit. I'm thinking along those lines. Where I might make something, and also I can make it quite appealing in a modern way, because obviously one of the great things about Eddie is the amount of detail in his look and how unique it is. Like, you've got inverted pupils, you've got just so much detail going on, and he takes on different appearances. He's had so many different appearances over the years, it's kind of insane. But along with that, I guess I need to make something that stands out, and the best way, in my opinion, is probably through the thing that's inspired me to make all the work, which is anime. So I will figure out a way to sort of make that, I guess. Make a mascot somehow. So again, it's going to be something to think about and experiment with, but I got an idea down. I was going to do maybe sort of like a... Initially I was thinking like a Freaky Fox, but I might go with a chibi. Like a chibi fox humanoid or something. Maybe playing a guitar with scars. Yeah. But also I'd have to make it sort of represent me in a way, I guess. Like, just be different, so sort of like a... almost like an alias. So... yeah, I'm gonna have to think on it. I've got different ideas. It's obviously something to be explored. I can't really think what else there is. Also, I'd have to sort of make the image based on, weirdly enough, the VSTs I use. So I think for me, my favourite VST has to be Shredded Hydra, maybe. Because I'm thinking Shredded Hydra is obviously the best VST. It's an 8-string fucking guitar. Yeah, it plays everything I need it to. It has decent range as well, obviously. And I think basing a guitar around that is probably not a bad idea, because that's exactly why I used as a VST. But I'm also thinking of like, maybe I should do a piano instead, because it is like, technically what's going on, it's like a MIDI piano. But I don't know. I also feel like it may be a bit misleading in a way, so I'm worried about that aspect. Because if it is misleading, then I'll probably need to obviously change that, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I do play guitar, but I don't use it for making my covers. And also to sort of repeat what I said before about that, I've literally tried on and off, and every time I've made something with actual guitar, it turns out like shit. Nobody wants to listen to it. Nobody actually likes it. So why bother? I'll just use VSTs then. because that's always been what's worked, and people know it's one of my most viewed fucking videos is a metal cover that uses the exact same VSTs. So that's obviously a recipe for greatness there. Well, it has to be, given that the actual guitar stuff wouldn't actually work, and didn't work on the other channel rather. If there was a way I could play guitar, I would, but again, I've got no money, I've got no equipment for that. I only have like the digital amps and stuff, like Amplitude and 11, whatever you call it, so audio, I guess I'll just call it. But yeah, that's the only things I've got. I've also got this Rocksmith real tone cable for obviously direct input. But a lot of this stuff, and people don't realise this, the equipment is expensive, and to get the lowest latency possible, it seems fucking impossible. Because it just doesn't exist. I genuinely don't understand how other people who do covers actually manage it. Because I'm capable of learning a riff, I think. You know, literally part of the experience of making a cover is probably to do with being able to play the damn riff. And I am capable of doing that. I still even remember some of the riffs I play. Like one of my favourites is probably Dr. Wily's Castle stage. Yeah, I think it's just stage. And it's one of the best Mega Man riffs ever, I think. But I can still play that on guitar by memory. It's just such a good riff to play and so melodic. But the point is, I think no matter the complexity of the arrangement, I'll find ways to make it work. So say it's maybe something complicated like Another Medium by Toby Fox, or Phoebe Talks as some call them. But say I was playing that, a lot of people, what is it called? Core? I think it's called Core actually. Some people play it by tapping, and that is efficient. But I wouldn't be able to fucking play that, so I'd have to find a way around it if I can't tap it. I'd like probably slow it down, so do it to a slower BPM, and learn it that way, which is viable, and then I can just cut it. You know, just cut every bit, every note in half, and it's not even like a wrong note. As long as I do like the pull-offs and stuff properly, but it's probably going to be more defined in that way. So it's also about cutting corners. That's what I used to do when I made it with my actual guitar. But yeah, as I said, it's still kind of a struggle. I still prefer VSTs. It's more comfortable in my opinion, and also easier to edit. And it's just change a few notes and that's it. So yeah, anyway, I don't have much else to say on this, I don't think. I'm tired of that shit. Music can be frustrating, that's the thing people don't realise. There are literal complications with it that people don't realise, because they think, oh, it's something fun to do. Is it though? Because I don't believe it is. It's just a slog mainly, and you can have fun with it depending on the riff. I had fun making the Milky track the other week, but I didn't have fun doing the track before that, which I think was the Hildebrand one, just kind of mixed on. But yeah, it can be a real struggle. Anyway, I need to fucking move on, my throat hurts. So yeah. Well, that's fun. The second virus in a month that poses a public health concern, and apparently an emergency. Remember the Ebola virus? That was a thing quite a few years ago. But it was back in a different form, and it was a very weird name. The Bundybuck virus. There isn't much info on this, unfortunately, so I'm assuming it's just the same symptoms as Ebola. Also the same death rate. But again, this is the problem. We can't have nice things because people just fuck up the world with these viruses, and it's because they contract something from an unsafe location, unsafe area, much like the Chinese wet markets and shit. In general, it's just bad conditions, so this could also happen in a Western place. And it has happened before, I'm pretty sure, like mad cow disease, swine flu. This only happens because there aren't regulations in place, and especially for a country that doesn't have it, admittedly the death rate would be higher just because they don't have access to healthcare. Then we don't even know what we're dealing with there. So there's so many unknowns with what could appear and what might happen. And again, it's a big warning in how we just shouldn't fuck with things we obviously aren't linked with. So, this comes from animals, and sure, it's something to do with animals, but people should fucking leave them alone. Like, even indigenous people. Because this is what's gonna cause us the issues. It's what's gonna have a knock-on effect in society, and admittedly, it's horrible to even think about the aspect of having to deal with an indigenous community. But what else do you think we should do? We can't just not do anything. And even though there's a point to obviously having an indigenous community, that being away from society, certainly I could live in one if there was one for like people who eat primarily vegan food, or obviously plant-based food. It's kind of hard to pull off because people are just ignoring all the signs, and again, they might not even know the language, so again, this indigenous community can just be an issue. And I don't even know the nicest way to deal with it, because simply put, all options are just horrific. It's not like you can educate them either, and also they wouldn't understand as well, depending on who they are. They might not understand what the fuck a society is, and why it matters that we don't have these viruses. So it depends on where it comes from, obviously, so I'm not specifically blaming indigenous communities, it's just an example. But it could even be just holiday makers, who tend to be rather the biggest problem. It's just been the same thing again. Hantavirus had this, the older Ebola virus had this. It's always fucking holiday makers. I swear. So it's just fucking insane. So, yeah. I don't really know what to add, but as I said, I'm frustrated, and I'm also just kind of tired of this shit. At a certain point, it just makes me want to just take off all my clothes, go into the fucking wild, and survive that way. I don't really know how, because obviously I'm living that way, so it'll sort of take a bit of getting used to, but imagine there might be a way. You never know. That could be a thing that could happen. Like, you never really fucking know with these things. But that might be what people end up doing anyway, even amidst like a war or something, because what fucking choice do we have? In my opinion, people started making groups like that, like fucking hell. I could start to actually join them. For example, my local vegan community was like, oh, war's about to happen and society's about to collapse. What do you say we just head on into the wild and like do whatever? And I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. Be worth the risk, even if there is like evil people there, but still, I think that's a sacrifice I'd be willing to make for sure. There'd probably be ways to survive through things, and people will have specific knowledge as well, no doubt. So we'd even be able to survive via, like, that's a leaf we can eat, that's a piece of or rather a flower we can eat. There's probably going to be different things. So it really varies, but anyway, I don't really have anything else to add, to be honest, but yeah, let's move on. Ah shit, well I've got to make an outro for this. I didn't realise how long this is going on. So yeah, thanks for listening, I suppose. Also not the best episode because I've just been in a very dark place, really. just hard to look past everything at the moment, how chaotic the world is, and just how shit everything is. So, yeah, it's probably one of the most negative episodes I've ever fucking done. Um, with enough, there's only one positive topic here. Yeah, I think literally just one. Um, I suppose the others are kind of enlightening, but that's another thing. Anyway, thanks for listening. See everyone next time.